It wasn't an invasion. It was an ultimatum. The aliens had come not to destroy Earth, but to challenge its greatest strength, human ingenuity. They demanded the surrender of Earth's most brilliant minds, and if humanity refused, the price would be extinction. The world braced for the worst, but no one was prepared for the shocking twist that would follow. The sky cracked open like never before. Alien ships appeared in the atmosphere, but they didn't rain down destruction as people had feared. They hovered, silently, ominously, casting shadows over cities, oceans, and deserts. Every news outlet, every camera, every eye on Earth was fixed on the alien craft. When they finally spoke, it wasn't through violence, but through every screen, every device, every network. The message came simultaneously, translated into every human language. Humanity, your intelligence is a threat to the order of the universe. Surrender your greatest minds, or we will destroy your planet. You have 3 days to decide. People panicked. Governments scrambled to interpret the message, but it was clear. The aliens weren't here for conquest. They were here to stop humanity's future. The world erupted into chaos. Governments were paralyzed. On one side, powerful factions demanded compliance, believing the survival of billions was more important than the lives of a few. On the other side, resistance groups argued that if the aliens took humanity's brightest minds, the species was doomed to stagnation. Without the leaders of science, technology, and art, the human race would regress. Dr. Lian Song, one of the most brilliant quantum physicists alive, found herself at the center of the storm. Her name was on the list of the chosen. But instead of hiding in fear, she began working with a secret coalition: military strategists, hackers, political leaders, and fellow scientists. Their goal? To stop the aliens without sacrificing a single mind. But the problem was monumental. How do you fight an enemy you can't see, whose technology is beyond anything Earth has ever known? While global leaders prepared to comply with the aliens' demands, believing resistance would bring annihilation, Dr. Song and her underground coalition were digging for answers. Secretly, they launched probes into space, hacked into old satellite systems, and scoured through ancient records. Something, anything, to understand the aliens' power. Then came a breakthrough. Using deep space scanners and analyzing patterns of energy emanating from the alien ships, Dr. Song discovered a faint but vital weakness. The alien technology, while vastly superior, was dependent on a singular source of power. They were operating with a kind of collective intelligence, controlled by a central hub somewhere on their flagship. Disabling that hub could effectively cripple their entire fleet. But there was one major problem. They couldn't find the hub. With less than 2 days left, tensions reached their breaking point. Nations turned on each other. Protests erupted worldwide as governments quietly began preparing their list of sacrifices. Some countries refused to cooperate, declaring that they would rather die than give up their best and brightest. Others believed survival was the only option and agreed to turn over their most brilliant minds. Dr. Song's group, however, was running out of time. They had the key to stopping the aliens, but they didn't know how to reach the hub. Then, one of Dr. Song's colleagues, a genius cryptographer named Julian Reyes, discovered something. The aliens had been communicating with each other across frequencies visible only in quantum energy fields. It wasn't just power, it was communication. The hub wasn't a machine, it was a living being. With mere hours remaining, Dr. Song and her team came up with a bold, desperate plan. They couldn't overpower the aliens, but they could manipulate their technology. If they could disrupt the quantum frequency long enough, they could cut off the hub's control over the fleet. This would leave the aliens vulnerable, but they had to do it from within. A small team, including Dr. Song, Julian Reyes, and a few of the world's top hackers, were smuggled aboard one of the alien ships using cutting-edge cloaking technology developed in secret by the coalition. It was a suicide mission. They knew there was a high chance they wouldn't return, but the fate of humanity depended on them. Once inside the ship, they found themselves surrounded by a technology they couldn't fully comprehend. But Reyes, using his quantum encryption algorithms, began infiltrating the ship's communication network. They had less than 30 minutes to pull off the impossible. As the countdown reached its final moments, global leaders prepared to hand over their lists of sacrifices. Entire cities had come to a standstill, waiting for the moment of doom. But just as the aliens were ready to receive their prey, something went wrong. The alien ships began to falter. A strange, chaotic energy rippled across their hulls. The lights flickered, and for the first time since their arrival, the ships began to descend, out of control. Dr. Song's team had succeeded. They had disrupted the hub's connection. But now they were in a race against time. The aliens, now aware of the sabotage, retaliated. Dr. Song and her team were trapped inside the ship, fighting for their lives against alien drones as they struggled to finish their mission. With seconds to spare, Julian Reyes managed to send one final command, a signal to collapse the quantum field that held the hub's consciousness. In a blinding flash, the alien ships crumbled, their once indestructible technology rendered useless. The world watched in awe as the alien ships, now powerless, drifted into the oceans and deserts. The threat had been neutralized, but at great cost. Dr. Song and her team were presumed dead, their sacrifice ensuring the survival of humanity. The alien leader, now cut off from its hive mind, sent one final message to Earth. It was a plea not for surrender, but for mercy. The aliens had underestimated humanity, not in strength, but in resilience and intelligence. In the end, Earth's greatest minds hadn't been sacrificed. They had saved the world and earned the right to explore the stars on their terms. In the months that followed, humanity began the slow process of rebuilding. But with the alien technology now in their hands, they were no longer confined to Earth. Dr. Song's legacy lived on as new generations of thinkers, creators, and explorers ventured into space, knowing that the future of humanity belonged to those who dared to fight for it.